What's going on, guys? It's Larry Wheels. I hope everybody's having a great day so far. So, what I want to talk to you guys about today is what I love so much about powerlifting, bodybuilding, and now most recently, Strongman. But before we get to that, I got to talk to you guys about what first got me into lifting in the first place. Now, there are many of you who have already heard my story. There's a video on my YouTube channel that tells you guys everything about my upbringing and what got me into it. But for those who are new to the channel, I'm going to briefly go over what got me into lifting. I was 14, living in St. Martin. There was no English school on the island, so I had nothing to do with my free time except work out. I rode my bike every day. I picked up a couple of cinder blocks and a broomstick and started just doing whatever I could to get a pump. I had very limited information. Nobody I knew on the island worked out themselves, aside from bicycle riding. So that's how I got started. And when I got back to the States, fast forward a few years, I joined the gym. I picked up boxing for a few months, didn't like it. And right around when I turned 17, I met a veteran. He was 24 years old, and he did powerlifting when he was doing his service in the military. And he told me all about it. And he was saying, well, they train 2-3 days a week, and they are typically doing 1 and 3 rep maxes. And as he was telling me this, I was like, that sounds fun. Like, that sounds a lot better than just getting a pump. So he started teaching me about powerlifting. He started teaching me about the deadlift, the squat, how to do like a competition bench press. And then between his knowledge, his experience, and YouTube, I was able to get pretty far pretty quickly, especially for a young age. What I love most about powerlifting, and I loved it from my very first PR, is hitting a PR. A lot of you know me as the PR guy. I like to set PRs and everything. But it did start, like my love for PR started back when I was 17 at Jay's Big Gym in Washington Heights, setting PRs on the squat, bench, and deadlift every other week, much like how I did most recently at Zoo Culture. And that's what got me hooked. You know, I did powerlifting competitively for about 5 years. When I was 21, I broke my first all-time world record at 242. And then I broke the 275 all-time world record in knee sleeves just a year later. So I had, so far, a pretty good run, and I have a decent amount of experience. But it's not that powerlifting got old. It's just that I wanted something a bit more challenging, because after doing powerlifting for 5, going on now 6 years, I wanted a new challenge in a different way. So I went back to what got me started lifting in the first place, bodybuilding. And the thing about it is, when I first went into lifting, I did bodybuilding just because I wanted to get bigger, not because I wanted to be Mr. Olympia or get my pro card and even be competitive. I just wanted to be bigger, fill out the sleeves of my t-shirt. When I was 14, I had the nickname Bird Chest. And isn't it funny how my strongest attribute now is my pecs? I have a huge chest. So maybe all that bullying and that name calling actually did me some good, because now my pound for pound best lift is easily my pressing power, my bench press. So when I got into bodybuilding last year, I did an amateur show in California, and then I also did my first national show. I did that because I was hoping to start a movement and get the message out there that you don't have to pick just one. You don't have to pick just strength and, well, if I want to be strong, I got to lose my abs and I got to just eat a calorie surplus and get fat and get huge. And I didn't want people to think, well, to be ripped, that means you have to sacrifice strength. So I did bodybuilding. I did a bodybuilding show to prove and to hopefully send a positive message to people that you can do both. You can be lean and you can be strong. You can break records and be ripped. Like, you don't have to choose just one or the other. And the training between powerlifting and bodybuilding is very different. Bodybuilding is very short rest periods, very intense. Your heart rate's constantly elevated. Like the rest periods are 30 to 45 seconds, sometimes shorter. You're doing a lot of volume, much less weight. And then to me, the hardest part about bodybuilding was the posing. Maybe because my love for bodybuilding isn't as much as I love getting stronger, and as much as I love strength sports like strongman and powerlifting. So maybe that's why posing is the hardest for me, because I've spoken to other bodybuilders about that. And like, what's the hardest part about it for you? And it definitely for them is not posing. They love posing. So for sure, with bodybuilding, the hardest part I want to say for me is posing and the super strict diet. I mean, to be a top level bodybuilder, I mean, I'm definitely not no top level bodybuilder yet, but from my short experience, you have to be extremely disciplined. You have to be extremely consistent. You cannot have cheat meals. You cannot drink and party. Like it's definitely a lifestyle. It's a difficult one, and your love for it has to be very strong. So by far the posing and the diet, the training is fun. I love getting a pump. So on that note, what I love about bodybuilding is by far the pump. You get to a gym with good lighting and you look twice as big, much more lean. It's like when you get to the perfect spot in the gym, like under the lighting, and they have like the magic mirrors, and then you just turn, you admiring yourself, hitting the tricep pose. It's just, it never gets old. I've been lifting for over a decade now, and that feeling of getting like a really good pump, lifting up your shirt, and your abs are popping, your obliques are popping, you have your vascular everywhere. It never gets old, especially, being 2 weeks out from a bodybuilding show. So that's what I love about bodybuilding. The posing, I'm still trying to find my love for it. I haven't had enough experience with bodybuilding to even be good at posing yet. I'm still very amateur, but by far the pump. Most recently, I picked up Strongman. And I picked up Strongman not because bodybuilding and powerlifting is not challenging enough or because I'm not interested anymore. It's because I'm naturally gifted at strength. I can only get so far in bodybuilding. That's me being realistic. Am I going to be Mr. Olympia? No. It's not because don't have the genetic talent to be Mr. Olympia. It's because I know what it takes to be Mr. Olympia, and I know what needs to be sacrificed. I'm not willing to go that far for bodybuilding. And my goal in bodybuilding is to be a pro bodybuilder, which is still a very difficult goal. I've been bodybuilding for a year now, and at my first national show, I learned just how competitive and just how serious the guys at, not even the pro level, but the guys trying to make pro, just how difficult it is. And when I was up there, staying next to these guys, I felt like I still had so much more work to do before I can even be competitive against them. So I picked up Strongman because naturally I have a gift for strength, and I thought I can definitely get, I think, just as far as I did in powerlifting in Strongman. And not just because of that, but last year at Iron Addicts in Las Vegas, I met Thor, the world's strongest man. And he comes up to me, we organized a workout. So he comes up to me at the end of the workout and says, come to Iceland for 2 months and I'll turn you into a great strongman. And I never forget what he said, because for months later, I was still focusing on powerlifting and working out zoo culture, and I moved from New York to LA. But every other day I would think about that. That's actually a really good idea. Like, who better to learn strongman from than the current world's strongest man, So I took him up on his offer. I go to Iceland for 2 months, and I had the time of my life. I love Thor. I love his family, his friends. He has the most supportive system I've ever seen from another athlete. They travel everywhere with him, Malaysia, Philippines, all around the world. They're always there. If you look at his most recent videos, you can see everyone wearing the Team Iceland shirts, and it's just really heartwarming to see it. So I love my experience in Iceland. I'm definitely going to be going back, possibly this summer, but definitely again this year. I haven't confirmed when. Possibly for Iceland Strongest Man, but I do have Wembley in July, so I'm not going to make any promises just yet, but I most definitely will be going back to Iceland. So I had 2 months training strongman in Iceland, and just from the first week alone, I learned there's 20 different movements, right? There's something like, not exactly 20, but around 20 different strongman movements. There's so many different events, so much new stuff to learn and get good at, and I just saw it as a challenge, and events are really fun. The yoke walk, the log, the Atlas stone. It's like so different from bodybuilding and powerlifting, the training, because in bodybuilding and powerlifting, you can actually do both with just a barbell and dumbbells. You don't need an Atlas stone or a yoke or a log. You don't need any of the equipment used in Strongman. So it's like a new world. And it's like, I felt like when I went to his gym, I was in a candy store. There's just so much new equipment to try. And I knew it was going to be good because I have such a strong foundation with powerlifting. So with Strongman, I've been doing it. I had my first Strongman competition in January, and I placed second. It was definitely, maybe had the power to win, but I was being very cautious because I still was very new to the movements and I was moving very slowly. If you watch my first Strongman competition video on YouTube, you'll see I was really taking my time because I don't want to make any mistakes. I don't want to embarrass myself. I feel like there was a lot of pressure on me. So I just took my time and made sure I did everything right. But with, I'll get better at competing in Strongman with experience. I'm confident I can get very far. My goals in Strongman are getting a podium finish, either world's ultimate strongman or world's strongest man. So that's my end goal at the moment. What I love so much about Strongman is by far the training. There's around 20 something different movements and events, and it's just a new challenge, and it's all super exciting. With powerlifting and bodybuilding, I've done countless squats, benches, deadlifts, barbell curls, dumbbell presses, and it's really exciting to be training entirely different from how I did in bodybuilding and powerlifting, and still be good. Now, the message I want to get across to you guys today is finding what you love is most important. And I've definitely been in a place as a teenager and a young adult where I felt lost. I didn't have any direction. I didn't know what I was going to be doing next year, let alone have a 5-year plan. In school they say, what's your 5-year plan? I have no idea what to be doing the next year. So I wanted a purpose. I wanted to be good at something. And what kept me moving forward and what kept me happy, most importantly, is doing what I loved to do. And what I loved to do was lift. I look forward more than anything, once I started lifting, to lift. That became my everything. Of course, family, friends are important and they can bring me happiness, but the gym was like my palace. It was like my temple. It was like, I can be having the worst day, go to the gym, and it was a great day. So I understand many of you have obligations and responsibilities like school and work and family that may get in the way of training, but all I have to say is that if you love training, and you give it your everything, it can very well one day make you a comfortable living to where you don't have to do the things that you don't want to do to get by. Because I definitely have done all kinds of things to pay my bills. I've done all kinds of things to make a living, because most of us, we have no choice. Once we're out of school, we have to figure everything else for ourselves. We have to figure out what are we going to do for work and where are we going to live. And, not all of us can just be like, well, I'm just going to go train and make money from working out. That's the dream. In my humble opinion, I believe to find happiness, you need to first find your purpose. And to find your purpose, you need to be doing what you love to do. So guys, there's your complimentary laugh. Please like, subscribe, drop a comment, turn on post notifications, and I'll be seeing more of you guys soon.